Good morning, good morning, good morning. Um, my name is Karen Stacy. I know I have not been on much, but I am back and I am trying to share my morning thoughts. During COVID, I actually started a talk show called Coffee Talk, and kind of dissipated because during COVID, a lot of people were home or working from home and had the time to listen. And now everybody's pretty much back to work. People in office, and I don't have as captive as of an audience as I did. Also, that being said, life changes and sometimes things work and don't work. So, anyway, here I am. I try to talk about real life things, and, I hate using the word keeping it real because for me, everybody that says they're keeping it real is not, but that's a whole other topic. So, I don't come on, I don't talk, I don't share certain things when I don't feel that my head is in the right place because energetically, I'm not going to put that energy out to you guys if my energy isn't correct. So, not to say that I always know when my energy is correct, but just saying. So anyway, I wanted to talk this morning about real quick. I'm just jumping on for a few minutes. I have a few, very good friends. I have, a lot of people in my life, but as far as close knit people, they're few and far between. And I've noticed that a lot of people that are close to me, there are a lot of people that are just going through a lot right now. And I know we all go through a lot, but I wanted to share with you. Hey, crazy cycle. Yes, it's all about the talk. I wanted to share with you guys a thought that I've realized, right? So a lot of us get stuck in a holding pattern, if you will. And I'm not a therapist, so, don't, quote everything I say, although I've been in therapy enough and I've been through enough that I kind of have a pretty good grasp on things. And I am fortunate to have certain people in my life that may say or do something that kind of makes me look at something differently. And that's kind of why I, enjoy doing my talk shows, because I always think everything in life is about perspective and it's about options. And I find personally when I have no options is when I lose perspective. Catch 22, but yeah. So anyway, my point to all of this is basically that a lot of us get used to being in a certain mode. It's a loop, it's like the computers, right? And it keeps looping around. And when I say that, the loop is you don't know how to get out of it. In other words, so many people, I'll give you an example for myself. I've been through hell. For any of you guys that don't know me, that are just tuning in, I am, how old am I? 52. I am a widow, almost 9 years at this point, married the love of my life that I was with since I was 21 years old. And he literally just dropped dead in front of me and my son. My son was 5. And prior to that, I had anxiety, depression, yada, yada, but he was like my whole world and he made everything okay. And when I lost him, nothing was okay. And I've been on a journey ever since. And so the reason why I prefaced with that was because what I learned is like as things happened, like the first couple of years, I was just like numb, right? So I didn't even know what the hell was going on, to be quite honest with you. And, as I started to, come closer to life, I started to realize other things. So, P.S. something happened, I want to say, a couple of years ago, right? And I was beside myself because I just couldn't handle it because it was just one more thing on top of me. And I just couldn't handle life, right? And so my father said to me, you know, I understand that this is bad, but look at it is, and we'll handle it. And I was like, wait, what? And it's so true. I went right back to that horrible place that I learned how to live in. So all of us say we don't want to be miserable, right? We don't want to live our lives a certain way. But the truth of the matter is that when you're stuck in it, you don't realize law of the universe and what you put out is what you put in. When you're putting out all of that misery into the universe, only misery is coming back to you. So you say, well, Karen, that's great, but like, how do I do that? How do I stop that from happening? Again, not a therapist, but what I've learned is you have to recognize what it is and you have to interrupt those thoughts. Crazy cycle, right? No, Kyle. I'm sorry. I learned I never have free time. So now that is, yes, I'm sorry. Thank you. I'm very bad when it comes to saying names properly. So thank you for the help there. So that's an interesting thing. I learned to never have free time. And so that is good and bad. And the reason why I say that's good and bad is because yes, we do need to distract ourselves or interrupt those loops, right? Those thought processes, those loops. We need to interrupt that. The problem can be when you have to constantly remain busy so you don't deal with the process or the issue at hand, if you will. And so that's what I find. So I just started the show by saying that a lot of people around me are going through stuff, and they are those type of people. They are the type of people that function best when they have projects in front of them. And I am exactly the opposite. When I have projects in front of me, I can't breathe because I put so much pressure on myself. And yes, I do distract myself. And you know how I distract myself? I am a hairdresser by trade, but I'm a very creative person. So like I'll start, like I taught myself how to do so many things. I make shirts, I make, wine glasses. Now I learned how to make like these little wig type of things and ponytails, and I distract myself that way. But in a creative outlet. But I think that a lot of times what happens is that people try to fill their life with things so that they don't deal with what they need to deal with. So all I'm trying to say is that if we change or interrupt our our loop of oh my god, I have this, I have that, and then this happened, and then my kid, and then my this, and I'm depressed and I'm anxious and I have all these things to do and I have these deadlines. So you never get out of that mindset. We go right back into that, and what I call it is survival mode, because guess what, life still happens whether you want it to or not, right? And so you have to interrupt the loop. That's where the issue lies. You have to interrupt the loop. So I am here this morning to just plant this in your head for a minute, for anybody that is actually listening. And if you're here live, let me know you're here live. You can always comment. And if you listen to this on the replay and you have a thought, please feel free to comment. This is, I'm doing Coffee Talk with Karen Stacy. The podcast is Real Talk with Karen Stacy. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. It's free. And then you are able to know that I am live. You will get an alert, but you can always check in and listen. So again, I jumped on today because I haven't been on in a bit. I'm doing a little coffee talk. I'm actually going to pause for a second so I can drink my coffee, which I'm not really enjoying because I'm doing this intermittent fasting and I can't drink my coffee the way I like to. but that's another show. And so I just wanted to jump on and just remind everybody, it is really mind over matter. If you don't mind, it don't matter. But no, seriously, I have a lot of people around me that are really going through some stuff. And again, I think we all go through stuff. And instead of, I'm not going to sit here and preach. I'm only going to tell you the things that I've tried that have helped, and maybe they'll help you and maybe they won't. But I know when I was reaching for anything to keep me going, I listened to everything and everyone, and I tried certain things. And, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And that's okay. But at least be open minded. Like I said in the beginning of the show, it's all about perspective, it's all about options. If you do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different response, you know what that's called, right? So those are my thoughts right now. So I know Crazy Kyle, I think he left us, but said, I schedule time for my son, like I'm gonna joke with him family wise. I track that. That's a very good point. You do need to, scheduling time. That does make a lot of sense. He's not on right now, but that's okay. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you in the sense of interrupting your regularly scheduled program. So like you need to be aware of your state of mind. And like I had something recently, for instance, I hadn't been to, the doctor, and I had a couple of tests done that I was a little, apprehensive about the results. And I was allowing it to consume me. And, one of my friends said to me, worrying isn't going to change the outcome. And I'm like, yeah, that's very true. But then I have other friends that would say, well, you need to plan for what if, right? And so, like, where's the happy medium there, right? So, you got to put in the universe that everything is going to be okay. And every time, but let me finish that sentence. Sorry. You have to be put in the universe that everything is going to be okay and be positive with the outcome. But we also have to be realistic. If the outcome is something that we are not, is an undesirable outcome, we do have to try to figure out how to handle that, right? And you don't want just like, to be left on there, if you will, like, out with no clothes on, so to speak. But at the same token, you do have to keep your mindset right. So if you're already seeing a negative outcome, the odds are it may become a negative outcome. So it's all in your mindset. So I am just saying to you today, do me a favor and be aware of your mindset. If you are in that loop and everything is just going wrong and you can't handle anything, just take a step back and like kind of like go through not each thing, but every time that you're in that point where you just don't know and you kind of like shut down because you're like, I have to just function because maybe you're a parent, maybe, you run a business, whatever the case may be, no time for that, right? You have to be at your best always. And unfortunately, we can't always be at our best. So this is why it's so important to interrupt those thoughts. So I implore you to just try and interrupt those thoughts. And as bad as things may be, if you can change that loop and change what your inner dialogue and and trying to maybe get yourself busy so that you don't deal with things at hand, you're never going to be where you need to be. Because yes, it's good to stay busy. Yes, it's good to have a focus on things. But if you don't deal with it, it's going to come back. That's the whole thing about anxiety and depression. That's why people take medication, which is a great thing to do, but it's it's also just a band-aid if you don't do the work so that you do whatever life hands you doesn't make you feel anxious and depressed. So I implore people to get help, to talk to other people, but know who you're talking to, because there are a lot of people that haven't been through what you've been through. There are a lot of people that are not as compassionate. There are a lot of people that have been through hell and they're bitter and angry because of it. And instead of trying to help you, they're like, well, you know what? I had to do it by myself, so you figure it out. And if you're one of those people, really like take a step back and think and realize that if you have been through some horrific things in your life, try your best to use that pain and suffering to help others by embracing them, not by giving them tough love, because a lot of us don't work well with tough love. We need to be hugged while we are being pushed. I can go on and on about this, but I just wanted to do a quick jump on. I know I lost a couple of people on here. There were some people that were here with me live. And for those of you that were here with me live, I appreciate that. For those of you that are listening on the replay, thank you. Like I said, feel free to give a comment. Let me know if you found this helpful. I can go into further detail. Certainly you can comment as well. And yeah, just, again, tomorrow isn't promised. Don't be an asshole today is always what I say. But beyond that, again, interrupt the loop. Remember that, things are going to change all the time. You have the power to change your thoughts so that you can change the outcome that is within you. So don't go into that mode and stay there. You can visit, but you can't stay. Those are my words of advice for you on the beginning of March. Today is March 1st. I wish everybody the best March you can have, and much love and light. And I will be in touch. Bye, you guys.